Well, for more on this, Robert Jordan joins us from Dallas, Texas. He's a former U.S. ambassador to Saudi Arabia. Good to speak to you. So how do you think this is playing out in the palaces in Riyadh?
Well, I think they have to be quite worried. My guess is they're trying to come up with a story, and a story that does not implicate Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. They look to be pointing the finger of guilt at others on this team, but I think a lot depends on how the Turkish investigation comes out.
So what do you think is the likely U.S. response to be if it turns out that the Saudis killed Khashoggi?
President Trump has made it very clear that if this is the case, there will be severe sanctions. I think everything will be on the table. I think it will include military issues, but it will also include financial penalties, perhaps freezing certain bank accounts. And I also think the private sector, both in the U.S. and abroad, will likely not want to continue to do business with a regime that has committed such a terrible act.
So you believe that there will be severe consequences, but when we look at the past, when the Russian agent was poisoned in Salisbury, I mean, the US was really fast to act there, the first country to impose sanctions. So why wait 2 weeks, especially the 2 weeks the Saudis didn't let the Turkish investigation team into the consulate?
Well, the Turkish investigation has not been released to the United States. Obviously, they're in the best position on the ground to have conducted the investigation. I'm sure American intelligence resources are also being used. I think as a matter, perhaps, of the alliance between the Americans and the Saudis, they've been given a couple of extra days here, but the burden really is on them to explain what I think they're going to have a very hard time explaining.
So if it does turn out that the Saudis have killed, what will be, though, the severe consequences, as you said, and how will it impact the relations between Saudi and U.S.?
We've been through very tough times with the Saudis in the past. I arrived in Saudi Arabia as ambassador 1 month after 9/11. And, of course, at that time, 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudis. I had a very difficult time getting the Saudis to understand the consequences of that act, and they certainly were in denial that even Saudis had been involved for a while. But we had a very important relationship. I think that relationship is still important today. And so we need their help in fighting terrorism. We need their help in the Muslim world. And we need their help in hopefully modifying the extremism of some Islamist groups and Islamist clerics. We need the business relationship. But at the same time, we have to make it clear that there are certain values out there that are universal, that you don't go chopping people up, you don't conduct assassinations, and frankly, you don't even conduct a rendition of someone from the sovereign territory of a country like Turkey.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you very much for joining us here on TRT World, Robert Jordan.